Hello, welcome to this week's edition of the Coach's Preview Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Qualls, and this week we have the Battle of the Woods. We've got Coach Hester here from Ravenwood, Coach Crawford from Brentwood. Thank you so much for coming on today. I know this game is an annual event. It's different this year because there's no playoff implications, but bragging rights are on the line. What does the Battle of the Woods mean to you in Ravenwood?
Well, I mean, it means it gives the kids the opportunity to play in front of an amazing atmosphere, amazing crowd. That's what high school football is all about, the opportunity for these kids to show out in front of their peers and their friends and family and play in a meaningful game that has a lot on the line.
Coach Crawford, same question to you. What does the Battle of the Woods mean to Brentwood?
Well, I think for us, every game is different for us this year just from a standpoint of we're where Coach was 2 years ago. We're just trying to coach better and play better. So I think we've got to make sure the moment's not too big. I think exactly what Will said is that, man, we had a great atmosphere last week. Our students did a great job, and we're begging them to stay with us and hang with us. We think we're going to get better before this thing's over, and an opportunity to play in this kind of game. The county rivalries are the most fun, and in particular, I think it'll be a great crowd, great place for our kids to play, and hopefully a lot of fun.
Well, this is an intriguing matchup. One other intriguing situation that we always have when we have the Battle of Franklin, you've got Donnie Webb on one sideline, Lee Webb being the principal for the other school. But in this scenario, it's interesting. You two coached together before in 2010, 2011. You have much respect for each other, good friends. So to you, I understand that you both want to win, but to the student section, let's talk about the student sections. Brentwood, Ravenwood student sections by far are the best two student sections I've seen across the state. Now, I haven't been too far east. You may have some little aspect on Cleveland in that area, but West Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, best two student sections that I've ever seen.
All I can say is since, I saw the basketball part because I was hired in January, so I thought both schools did a great job there. And then I was obviously at Coach Hester's game last week against Siegel, and I thought your student body, I thought they did a great job, and I was proud of ours. They hung around last week.
Same thing, G2 bar over there, the Nest. I mean, that's something that the students are hanging their hats on right now.
Right. I mean, it gives the kids the opportunity to be involved. They feel like they're involved in the game, to have their will imposed on the game, and I think both of them do a wonderful job of being unified and doing things together and coming up with these game atmospheres that are great for high school football.
All right, Coach Crawford, you're not new to the system. You're new this year coming back. I have to honestly say, on air, that the sense of Brentwood football right now, since the time that you were hired to now, has been completely a 180-degree turnaround. And that is because of you, your work ethic. You get the kids in the weight room. You get people excited. Congratulations on that. It is a work in progress. You came in last week. You played Independence. Right now Independence is playing really well, 47-17 loss. But give me some good takeaways from that game.
Well, I think that we played with really good effort. And that's one of the things that we've talked about is the one thing that we can control is, we can lead our league in effort. And that's one of the things right now that we're trying to do. And I was proud of our effort. I was proud that we never hung our head. We didn't give up. We didn't quit. We continued to play hard to the final whistle. However, we had a whole lot of fundamental flaws, things we didn't do very well. Scoring opportunities squandered, opportunities to get them stopped squandered. So I think right now our goal again is to coach better this week and to play better. So I've got to do a better job of coaching them because our kids are similar. They're good kids, man. They're going to try to do what you ask them to. So our staff's challenged with coaching them better, and we're going to challenge them to play better.
Well, you could expect some things to happen in that first week. Penalties, missed assignments, etc. And you get a few of those stops on defense that you were speaking of and maybe punch a couple of scores in, then all of a sudden that score is completely different. You have an opportunity. I think the score helped me. The score was a little closer than what it seemed earlier in the game, if I'm not mistaken, right? At
the half it was 20-3, and we had been in the red zone 4 times and gotten 3 points. So I think, again, we self-destructed, and that's not to take anything away from Independence. They executed. They did what they're supposed to do. They even gave us the ball once in the red zone. So I don't want to take anything away from them. So, I would put it more on us. Do they have a really good football team? They do. They're really, really good on offense and have a lot of weapons. Their quarterback's a phenomenal player. I don't understand why more people aren't recruiting him, but they was up I guess 35 or 36, went for 2 to make it 40-3, and we got to play against their starters the whole game. So that gave our kids an opportunity to stay in there the whole game too, and work on some things to try to make us better.
Coach Hester, Siegel came in on a Thursday night, only game in the mid-state. We were talking about that off the air. Your kids showed up on a Thursday night. It was a fantastic environment. Got off to a little bit of a slow start. After halftime, I think you put up 23 points in the third quarter alone to break it open. Not used to that typical slow start after watching last year, and it was a completely different team, and I understand that. But once you got in the groove, Chris Rowland and Connor Jeffries kind of got you going there with, as well as Rapay, also all three easily over 100 yards with the exception of Rowland because he had one 80-yard called back, 80-yard touchdown. But give me some takeaways from your victory, 47-27 over Siegel.
Well, I mean, Siegel's a good football team. Greedy House is probably the best running back in that league over there. So to slow him down, was going to be a challenge. We knew that going in. And playing defense, defensive football's changed with the rule changes, help the offense, everything. It's more about making them punt as many times as you can in the game. Everybody's going to score. Everybody's going to put points up. You can't get caught up on holding people to negative yards and all that. It's really about stopping the next play and making them punt. And our defense did a better job of that after their first drive and got off the field some, especially early in the third quarter, which was real big for us. And then offensively, didn't start out executing as well. First game jitters, starting 4 new offensive linemen up there. So obviously, you're going to have some growing pains when it comes there. But, just like Coach Crawford's goal is, your strides should happen from the first and second game, most of your strides. We got, over 160 plays on film from the other night, so we had a lot to correct, a lot of things to fix, and hopefully we can start on a path to build toward the end of the year and be ready come playoff time.
So speaking of that, you come away Saturday, Sunday breaking film down. Is that right? Is that usually the way it goes? Coaching staffs come in on Saturday or Sunday or whatever your preference is. You start looking at film and you start addressing those things. Okay, this happened, this happened. When do the guys actually get to see these pieces of film? Is that usually on Monday or is that later in the week?
Well, I kind of get the film on Friday night right after the game's over. But as far as, our view of the game broadcast to them, our coaches make a playlist for their position on Saturday. Mm-hmm. So our coaches grade their film and they send out their grades along with their film with notes and things of that via the huddle program on Saturday. And then Sunday, we generally spend most of the time on the opponent for the next week. And then Monday, we'll meet again with the kids and go over the grades and stuff that they received on Saturday. But the kids get their first shot to see what the coach thinks of their assignments and effort on Saturday.
We're not there yet. We're struggling to get there. But yeah, our kids, as soon as the film is uploaded, they have an opportunity to look at it, and we're to the point now where we have to take that film and be instructional and intentional with it, as opposed to sending to doing that, which it's a great idea, and we'd like to get to that one day. We try to look at it on Monday and bury it, and we're like Coach them. So all our individual coaches have it on Saturday and get their work done, and then Sunday we come in. This time we worked on ourselves because we're a new staff all together, so we really took the time this week to worry more about us than our opponent from a standpoint of we really got a lot of correcting to do for ourselves. So making sure our staff and coaches and players understand that, first things first, let's try to take care of ourselves. But very similar to that.
Well, that's the difference in players that he's got that's been in his system for 2 years versus been in your system for 6 months. And you're having to go through those things, the simple assignments that you're wanting done, the terminology, everything that you want to put in place. And I know that it will be there, and it's coming. And I know that can be a difficult task in itself. But with new technology such as Huddle, you keep speaking of Huddle, how nice it is to be able to break things down, send it to the kids via the email, text, whatever the case may be. They can see it early, so when you get there, it's not something you have to spend the entire day on, but you want to hit on those finer points of things that we need to correct for the upcoming week. So let's talk a little bit Super 32, 6A football. Okay, you're dropped down. You guys are in the top first 1, 2, 3 slots in 5A now. You're still you're in 6A football. Your new region, Mount Juliet, Franklin, McGavick, Lebanon, Overton, Wilson Central, Antioch. What is the outlook right now? You were the only team this past week, last week rather, to win in the entire region. Of course, you and Franklin playing each other. Siegel playing and Franklin getting beat by Centennial. Apologize for that. But tell me what you think about who's the best team in this region excluding you?
To be honest with you, I don't know. Lebanon didn't play, so they didn't at least lose last week.
That's true. They did come in 0-10 last year.
They got a streak going. But it's hard to say. I mean, predominantly, Mount Juliet's had a very strong program. You'd expect them to be good. Wilson Central's, been to the quarterfinals in the recent past. McGavick was a second-round playoff opponent of ours last year, and they have returned a lot of players. And then Overton is always right there in the mix. So, and then Coach Webb at Franklin, you're never going to count those guys out. They may be a young group, but,
right.
We don't play them to the fifth game of the year. A lot of strides are going to happen between last Friday and the fifth game of the year, and they're very, very well coached. So you know that they're going to be right there in the mix. So to say who is in there, all I really know is we've all made the playoffs. There's only 32 of us. So we're kind of like that D2 league. We got a shot.
What about you, Coach? You have to earn your way in on that. He gets just a pass.
I've already congratulated Coach Hester on his playoff berth.
Well, out of the 8 teams in there with yourself, there was only 4 teams that made the playoffs last year. Only 4 teams above 500. That included Franklin 8-3. Two of those losses. One of those losses came to you guys last year, and the other one was Centennial. McGavick 9-3 made the playoffs. Overton 6-5 made the playoffs. Now I knew, like you said, going in that Mount Juliet was looking to be pretty decent. Got beat by Antioch. Gallatin this past Friday night. So I think it's wide open. I think that if you polled everybody, that right now you probably are the favorites. I know you don't want to talk about that, but I'm going to go ahead and say that for you from this seat, from everything I've been hearing. But
I would echo those.
We're not gonna jinx that. We want you to do the best in 6A. So let's move over to Region 7 5A. You guys in Centennial, the WCS schools in there, Dixon, Clarksville Northeast, West Creek, Clarksville High, Rossview, Henry County, all those teams in there. A lot of word came in early about Henry County. Everybody knows the pass to Henry County. And then they get beat by Liberty Tech Friday night 20-3. But Rossview to me is an interesting mix. 8-4 last year, got beat by Whitehaven 14-7. Now we had to go down to Whitehaven last year and beat those guys there. Extremely athletic, fast team. So I know that's kind of fool's gold. They may have graduated a lot, but it's still an interesting match. So same question to you. Taking yourself out of the group, who's the best in that group?
History says Henry County, I think, is 58-8 the last 4 or 5 seasons. I don't know who Liberty Tech is. I just know it's in Jackson.
Well, I can tell you they're real good come wintertime in basketball.
I would think so. Yeah, West Tennessee really likes basketball. And you would think Brian Centennial, I think they have an opportunity to get in to make a run at it this year if they stay healthy. So I'm, again, like you, intrigued by the Rossview thing. I know they got in and won a game last year, and then that was an intriguing score knowing what Whitehaven athletically brings to it. So I would say that, we'll find out in another week, but I don't know. I've been gone for 3 seasons, and I don't have a clue. I'll have to GPS how to get everywhere we're going except Centennial.
You know what? That's not necessarily a bad thing either. You're coming in, clean slate. Hey, we got to do what we take care of at Brentwood, and that takes care of itself when we go and play these teams. There was only 4 teams, just like same scenario, above 500 that got into the playoffs. Clarksville at 5-6 was not above 500. Got into the playoffs last year. Rossview, of course, like we said. Henry County finished at 10-3, got beat in the quarters by Ridgeway, and then Centennial 10-3 and got beat by Ravenwood there. But interesting mix there. It's not exactly favorable for you guys travel-wise, gate-wise. We've talked about that. But I think there's an opportunity there. I think you spoke of it as well to get some W's on the board.
Well, I mean, for us, we've got to really worry about our schedule should really say opponent. So the thing that we've got to do is we've got to kind of block all that out and worry about ourselves more than we do opponent. And it's so hard because I think it's the nature of it. It's the nature of ESPN. It's the nature of Sports Talk Radio. All the things that are part of our lives now is to project, to look ahead and all that. The AP Top 25 polls out. Really? Somebody knows how good Northwestern's going to be. So
right.
I think for us, it's all about us trying to get better and put a complete game together.
So when we come back, we'll talk about your coaching staffs and personnels. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Want to build memories with your child? Turn off the TV and read. Reading is one of the best family activities around. It's free and without commercials.
Hey, sweetie, let's read some books.
Start with picture books for young children and build to storybooks and novels.
But the car is still rusty. It stinks. Oh, pew, you.
Vary the length and topic of what you're reading, and read slowly enough so that your child can draw pictures in his mind about what is being read. Invite your child to turn the book's pages, or pause and ask your child to predict what's going to happen next in the story.
Mom, where haven't turned that car?
Con, I think it rolled right into the lake.
Young children like to read the same book over and over. During repeat readings, stop at a key word and let your child fill in that word.
Is that the burner bowl?
After you finish reading a book, reflect on it together. Get an exchange of ideas going. Go outside, enjoy nature, take a walk in the park together. Stimulate your child's curiosity. Build memories. Read. This Choose Success moment has been brought to you by the Middle Tennessee P16 Council. For more information about children and reading, contact your local school system.
Welcome back to the WCS Coaches Preview Show. I'm here with two of my favorite coaches of all time, Coach Crawford, Coach Hester. We're back. Let's talk real quick. Let's look into the future. I know we don't like to look past this game. Battle of the Woods is huge. We already really kind of briefly talked about what this game means to you guys. I think more of, not necessarily bragging rights, that's probably more of a student section player thing, but for you guys, it's about getting better because there's no implications down the line on playoffs. So let's look down the road just a hair. Mount Juliet Centennial coming up for you guys. We've already talked a little bit about Mount Juliet. You've got your stretch. You feel pretty comfortable. I know you never feel comfortable as a coach, but your stretch doesn't get any easier.
We've talked to the first 5 games of our season are going to tell the tale for us. It's on paper the most difficult opponents that we have fall in our first 5 games, and 2 very difficult region opponents, guys that you would have thought would be in the mix in Mount Juliet and Franklin at the very top of our schedule. Our first 2 district opponents are those guys, so it's going to tell the tale. So we got to kind of keep moving forward, keep getting better. We got a bunch of guys that have played for us but haven't played a lot for us that are out there and playing, and those are the kind of guys that these games are very meaningful for, to get some action under their belt and start building. With the new playoff system the way it is, and us being guaranteed an 11th game, the goal has to be better at week 11 than you are week 1, since you're going to have that opportunity. Because to be quite honest with you, unfortunately, the way it's set up, the other 10 matter, but they don't matter. So if you keep building toward that 11th game and playing your best football, then we've done what we're trying to do.
So outside of Gate, you have to make it to week 11, where he gets week 11 handed to him, right? So. But
well, he didn't do it. The state did it.
I like to give him a hard time about that.
He's playing his role as dictated by the state.
So you come in after this game. You've got 2 really good games in conference. Well, not in conference, in county games. Good gates, good atmospheres. But now it's time where the rubber meets the road to say Rossview comes the next game. That's a big game right off the bat, because that does mean implications down the road for playoffs.
Well, yeah, and the reality for us is that's the most important game, and I think one of the things that I guess I learned from Coach Rector was, what's important is getting in. And then once you get in, I've been in 5A football the last 3 years, and once you get in, if you're playing well at that time, you've got an opportunity to advance. So, But our program's not there. We've got something that's been 5 and 15. What we need to do is simply not worry about anything but focus on each day. Mm-hmm. And I know that gets old for people to hear about winning the day, but we really are trying to win each period, win each rep, everything that gets going. And so for us. We don't know anything about Rossview. I know they'll be athletic, as many of the Montgomery County schools are. And then, obviously, with Donnie Webb and Dan Winfrey and those guys over there, Franklin will be well put together, regardless of their youth or whatever. They'll be well coached and they'll execute, and they're going to get better each and every week. That's the one thing about playing those guys. So for us, it's all about, did we have a good week this week? What's our Friday going to look like? And then let's win the next one.
So you play each other tonight, and then you get a taste of a region play, and then go back outside of region play and play one more WCS Sports Conference game, you against Franklin, you against Centennial, and then it's back to business all the way throughout pretty much, and see how that goes. Let's talk about your coaching staffs. We had some turnovers. You're the home team, Coach Hester. Let's talk about your coaching staffs.
Absolutely. I have a phenomenal coaching staff, and the thing about Williamson County and Ravenwood High School they're great teachers. We're teaching a lot of AP classes and doing all that kind of stuff with our staff, so very proud of those guys in the classroom as well as I am on the field. But Paul Derrick is taking over as our defensive coordinator this year, and Daniel Keel has stepped away to take care of some things outside of football, and hopefully we'll get him back at some point. But Paul, who was our safeties coach last year, still our safeties coach, was now the defensive coordinator. Joe Cardinal, who teaches at Woodland, is coaches the corners for us, doing an excellent job. Zach Farkas coaches our inside linebackers. Daniel Garrett, who's new to our staff this year, came from Middle Tennessee Christian, is coaching our outside linebackers and teaching history for us. And Andy Elrod, who teaches AP Euro and AP Human Geography, is coaching the defensive line for us. So he's got his plate full teaching 2 APs there. This year we hired Jabbo Burrow to coach the offensive line, played at Vanderbilt, was a student assistant at Vanderbilt, was a GA at Jacksonville State. All of the offensive line, so he's got a wealth of knowledge there that we're tapping into. Obviously, we miss Coach Finch, but he's joined Ron's staff now, moved on to bigger and better things. So Coach Burrow's done a wonderful job for us. And then still coaching wide receivers is Alex Tracus, and Bryant Gunner's our running backs coach.
Coach, same question to you. What about your coaching staff?
I guess there's 2 holdovers, so there's 7 new guys there, and that's interesting. There were 15 coaches when I left there, and 2 are left. I'll just go on one side of the ball. I'm going to be like Coach Hester so I don't forget anybody. Gabe Evans is our offensive line coach, and he's a returning staff member that came in with Coach Woodward, and he teaches one of them AP history classes. I don't know which one, but it's all the hard stuff. Our wide receivers coach is Pat Curran. He's a wellness teacher at our place. I hired him my last year there. Great young coach, moving to the offensive side this year and really is enjoying it. Clint Finch, who coached with us at Brentwood and went with Coach Hester over there. Clint's a really good coach. Will can tell you that too. Has been patient. He's bided his time. It's his turn. He's going to do a great job with our offense. And he, again, teaches AP humans, but we all teach humans. Coach, you said AP human a while ago. Something over there. He's a really good teacher. Our running back, H-back coach is Charlie Sanford from Sanford. So he played offensive line at Sanford in this type of system. And he did an internship at the University of Alabama in strength and conditioning. He teaches algebra and computer technology or whatever they do when they program it. Defensively, Tom Crawford is our defensive line coach. This will be his 50th season. So
that's an interesting dynamic. Give us a little insight on that. How long have you guys been coaching? For those that don't know, that is your father.
This is his 50th year. This is my 31st.
So have you coached all the way with each other on each other's staffs? How long have you coached together?
This will be our 11th year together.
11th year together. So at
12.
So at Cleveland, he was with you.
No, he just came down and watched games on Fridays.
Okay, so
he was there 10 years before, and now he's back with us again.
So it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, and he's actually head of the sociology department at Brentwood High School. I don't know if Coach Hester knew that, but yeah, he teaches the one sociology class that we offer. So Dad's still teaching too, so that's cool. Inside linebackers is Steve Brock, who came to us from a variety of schools, Lacey, Hillwood, but he teaches personal finance. He's also a strength and conditioning guy. I coach the outside linebackers. Drew Collier teaches English. He's a recent graduate of UT. His dad hired me at Cleveland, so he's a school guy. For you guys that know what that means to a school, to have somebody that understands all the dynamics of a teacher and a coach. And Drew's our corners coach, and Corey Phillips is our defensive coordinator. He's our safeties coach, and we got him from Father Ryan. He teaches in our special services department at Brentwood High.
Well, you got full coaching staffs, and that's a good thing to have. It's not easy to fill those spots with people that you trust, that are loyal to you, and team players. I know that's exciting to have those guys. Now let's talk about lost players. from last year. Coach Hester, Van Jefferson, Austin Percy, Cole Brown. That's enough on offense. Good grief. Those three guys right there. I didn't even say Chris Rowland. I mean, that right there can make a team look awfully good anywhere in the country. Just one of those players on each team. But you lost all four. Defensive side of the ball, you lost Garrison Geronimus and Jeb Stewart. And so you lost 26 total seniors last year. I'm sure there's plenty more people that I didn't name. So who's replaced them? And how many kids do we have as seniors this year?
Well, Chris Rowland apparently replaces himself. Seth's the one that graduated.
Seth Rowland, apologize. I've said that numerous times. You think I'd have that. Juice Jr. is what I'm going to start calling them.
That's fine. Call it what you want. But, Chris has taken over, unfortunately, a lot of that load from those guys that graduate on offense. He's doing a lot of different things. Probably our purest route runner. Does a phenomenal job running routes, running the football, doing a lot of different things for us. So he's kind of our do-it-all kind of guy on offense. We try to move him around. And then Andrew Rapay is replacing Cole Brown as the quarterback, and
he's
does
not
a good job.
he's not any stranger. I mean, he had plenty of reps.
Yeah, absolutely. He scored the first touchdown in the state championship game last year.
Right.
So he played in some big situations. He would come in some certain packages we had last year. So, Andrew's no stranger to playing, and a big physical kid, runs the ball hard. I know a lot of people like to throw around the Tim Tebow kind of moniker, but that's what he is. He's a left-handed guy, physical guy. And then defensively, no one really knew who Garrison Geronimus was and Jeb Stewart were until we kind of got into the deal last year and we're playing good defense and all that kind of. And that's kind of how the defense is. Our defense does a good job of playing team defense, of getting as many people to the ball, and we don't have a whole lot of name recognition and superstars over there. But the two most notable names on our defensive going into the season are Jordan Moore and Andrew Luchins, both of which haven't played it down for us, and we don't know when they will. So. Obviously those are two holes that we're having to replace currently, and we've had some guys step in and do that. But Sean Spence and John Thompson, our inside linebackers, they're kind of leading the team right now, doing a wonderful job. And then our safety, Nate Stoner, number 9, who got a lot of playing time last year for us, is doing a good job in the back end, getting us lined up and making all the calls for us.
Brentwood, 19 seniors, Carson Croy at quarterback, Ahmad Arnold, Tucker Day, nationally ranked kicker / punter, weapon.
Tucker is Williamson County, man. Everybody's got good specialists. That's what's amazing. But Tucker's really taking this job seriously, and very, very highly rated, highly recruited at this point, and just did a phenomenal job for us on punts last week and kickoff. So Tucker's certainly a weapon for us, and if we can ever get across the 50 this week, we'll swing at one with him because we think he's got great range.
Wow.
And then Ahmad is already a Sanford commitment. Did a great job for us. We've been kind of waiting for him to break out offensively, and he had a really solid game for us. And then he's really not practiced much on defense this fall, so he's catching up over there. But of all our guys, he's probably our most dynamic physical player on defense. And then Carson's one of those guys. He's just a really mentally and physically tough kid that really wants to do a great job for us and a fun kid to coach.
Well, we've got roughly about a minute to go, 30 seconds. All right, Coach Hester, you first. What can we expect Friday night?
Well, tonight's going to be a great game. I think that you're going to get a lot of passion from both teams. You're going to get a lot of excitement from both crowds. I think the team who doesn't allow the moment to be too big for them, doesn't get caught up in that emotion. You got to be very careful not to play the game in warm-ups. To build to a crescendo at 7 o'clock on the opening kickoff, and the team that makes the least amount of mistakes and protects the ball is going to have a chance to win. That's what football. I know it's a cliche, but that's what football is all about.
If I've heard you say it once, I've heard you say it 100 times. We've got to survive that first 5 minutes, and then after that, the true game is played. Coach, same to you. 30 seconds. What can we expect tonight?
Well, hopefully we'll live up to our goal, and we'll coach them better, and we'll play better this week. And I can't echo anything but the same thing. The turnover thing for us is huge. If we could be plus in that column, then maybe when we get in the fourth quarter, we'll have a chance.
Well, excellent. Thank you so much for being here, Ron Crawford, Brentwood High School. Will Hester from Ravenwood tonight. Game day, 6 o'clock for the Nests. G2 bar section will be going wild. Kickoff at 7 o'clock at Ravenwood. Thank you for joining us for Coach's Preview Show. We'll see you next time.